get Meredith back.
All right, can you?
I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Huh, okay. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can get the, hold on. Okay, I think it's working.
Now you got her. There she is. Can you see me now?
Yeah, I can see you.
All right, so we're on. I also have you on my phone, so that way people can hear and see. So I'm going to show you on the phone as well as on the computer. So that way, in case I'm doing something wrong, we got this going. There's Katie. Katie's joined in.
Hey, Katie.
Hi.
All righty.
Do we have it shared, or do I need to help work on that on my end?
I don't know.
I got an invite from you, but then it wouldn't load. So, minor technical difficulties. Can we see who's joining in with us or no?
So far, I see no viewers.
It'll just, as far as on the Google Hangouts.
I see that it says you're live now in Connections for Weddings.
Okay.
Yep, we're good.
Great.
All right.
Out of your
We
face.
got Ola here on Connections for Weddings. She's joined.
All right. Annette, I would move your camera if you can.
Move it.
Unless you're already. No, not that one. Your other one.
This one?
Yeah.
This one?
Yeah.
Can you see it?
I would set it up. I would set it up next to you. See, it's lagging a little bit. I can hear it over here.
Okay.
Okay, we're good. Well, as long as we can see everyone, you might need to hold it so that you can see Meredith's face when she responds.
Join Missy Elliott's join. Let's say hi. So
Hey, everybody.
Coming in. And we have Meredith joining us. If you're not on, it is Google Hangouts. I'm trying to say it's under Connections for Weddings with Meredith. So you can join us that way as well. What I'm going to do is turn the camera in case you can't join on the Hangouts. You'll be at least be able to see Meredith as she's answering some questions and things like that. So let's start out with what we're going to do is I want you to introduce yourself and tell us who you are and what you're all about.
Okay, wonderful. My name is Meredith Ryncarz. I am the photographer of Meredith Ryncarz Photography. Kind of self-explanatory with the name like that. And I also run the Restart Specialist. I'm currently based out of Virginia, but we travel quite a lot. And I am a military spouse and a mama of 2 crazy kids and 1 fur baby. And I think that's about it.
I'm trying to get you on picture here. There you go. There you go. Okay.
For those of you joining in, I am going to be answering some. Annette, did you end your live video on Connections for Weddings?
It's back up again.
It's back up again. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to be answering questions from there or reading questions from there. So if you do have questions for us, go ahead and post them in that live video off of Facebook, and I will do my best to ask those live while we're streaming. And we're just going to tag team and do this interview. So thank you for being here.
So she'll take care of the live questions and I'll take care of the regular questions. How's that, Meredith?
That works. That works.
Nothing like getting double teamed. Okay.
In the hot seat.
Tell us why you got into photography first. Let's start with your photography world.
Oh gosh. Well, I got into photography initially for several reasons. We move a lot. We move every 3 years. And I was a art teacher at the collegiate level and in a public school system at the same time. And moving from state to state, it's really difficult to keep a licensure and almost be unemployable because you don't have a license in the next state that you go to. And so I needed to still feel like I was serving someone and taking care of people, and also still creating art because that's what initially I was doing as a teacher. And we found that this was a better alternative for our lifestyle. And I love capturing people's moments. And that's a whole long story there. And initially I got into weddings because we had an incident with our wedding photographer that we initially had booked. And we ended up having to go with somebody else because she backed out. And I'm sure as a bride, people can kind of understand that scary feeling. And I don't ever want my brides to feel that way. So that kind of propelled me into that.
So it's forced professionalism by self-infliction. But in saying that, that makes you a better photographer because you've been on that other end. So kudos to you for understanding that. So what makes you unique in the wedding world?
I would say that I don't see my brides as a number. I know a lot of people are concerned with, I booked 20 weddings this year. I booked double what I did last year. And that's well and good. And I do see the business side of the numbers and things, but I don't see my brides and my couples as a number. I take care of them to the point that even if it's not in my regular purview of being a wedding photographer, if that means sweeping up the reception hall because they're expected to put everything back and the planner has left 3 hours early, I'm going to do it because it's what is needed. And I'm not too good to do the small things. I'm not above making sure that my couples are taken care of, as well as the vendors that I'm working with.
That's awesome, because I'm a firm believer of that. Just because you're hired to do one thing doesn't mean you can't help. And I think brides appreciate that in the long run, and the reputation that you get for doing such a thing gets out there really fast. How many years you been doing this?
So I have been shooting for 7 years as a business. Before that, it was a hobby. And then I've exclusively been shooting weddings just for 2 years now.
Don't underestimate that, because you've been doing your own thing, but trust me, they're not always easy, those own things. You know, when you're filming kids or families, groups, that's pretty difficult as well. So weddings, you get a little bit more delight in that.
Yeah, I love my brides. I love the families. I absolutely love what I do. And a lot of the brides that I've worked with have become friends, and we still keep in touch years after they've had their weddings.
Okay, so tell me about your favorite client. Not necessarily a name, but just kind of tell me what happened.
I have to say that there isn't a specific client but they do all have a lot of things in common. My favorite clients tend to all have a lot of similarities. They tend to all be foodies of a wide variety, from we'll try anything and everything to they just like good food. And they tend to have a deep family tie, a deep sense of heritage, and a love of having their family around. And we also tend to, couple of us, of the brides that I've had, tend to have what I call my closet granola side, which is healthy food and Young Living essential oils, which I don't talk a ton about. I call it my inner closet granola hippie that comes out once in a while.
Inner closet. Part of that club too.
Yep.
Loves her oil.
I've muted myself because I'm over here frosting cakes, banging around. We have at least 5 members joining us. It's going back and forth, but we've got some great people on here, and they're saying hello.
Aw.
Oh, hi, everybody.
Well, that's great. So you got into the wedding industry because of your experience. Do you have a favorite image or design that you like the best? Or
photos are kind of like babies. You can't pick a favorite one. That's just wrong.
I bet. So is there a time in the wedding that you like the best?
I'm sorry?
Is there a time in the wedding that you like the best?
I'd say that there are 2 times in the wedding that I really absolutely love out of everything else. And that is the first time that the groom sees his bride, whether that's a first look or walking down the aisle. I tend to get choked up about that. And it's,
Totally agree with that.
it's just, I
It's a
love
genuine
capturing
moment.
that. Yeah. I love that moment. And I would say my second favorite moment is after the ceremony and after family portraits, when that is the only time on your wedding day that you are married and you're by yourself, that you can just kind of soak that moment in, that realization that we just got married. And it's neat to see how each couple reacts to that. Some of them get really excited and really, I don't want to say hyper, but they are really expressive about it. And others just want to kind of be introverted and calm and quiet, and letting them do that for a couple of minutes before going into the reception. That is probably my second favorite part of the day, is just kind of stepping back and capturing it out of the way of letting them kind of be themselves.
That's so funny, because I say the same thing to, doing the flowers. I always tell the girls to walk into your ceremony part, pause for 5 seconds and take it in.
Yeah.
Take it in, because it's a moment that you'll never experience again. Even if you get married again, it's always different. That moment right there is the difference.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. So what is your favorite trend that's out right now?
Favorite trend. I would say I'm really liking seeing the smaller intimate weddings. Don't get me wrong, I love a big giant celebration. They're a lot of fun, but I'm seeing more and more people booking me for smaller, more intimate affairs where it's anywhere from 20 people to maybe 50 or 60. And, but it's still heavy on the details. It's still very well planned out, excellent food, excellent cake, floral design, but they're just more intimate. They're more family oriented.
That, and they're more personal touches throughout, because like I did a wedding one time where there was actually an empty seat and they placed a rose on it where the person was no longer with us.
Yeah.
Those are things that you can do when you don't have 300 people there. 300 people can't see what you're doing. And a really good photographer like you captures those moments that are lifetime memories. So I totally agree with you. So what is your favorite image, place, or design that you photographed? You think
favorite image, piece, or design? Ooh.
An art teacher, there are a lot of them.
So things that I've created, or things that I've seen that other people have created?
That you either created or that you've seen other people do that you've photographed.
Okay.
Because sometimes, I don't know if you're like, everyone's such a great artist that I just admire everyone's talents, as well as try to perfect my talents.
Yeah. I would say I've had the honor, I guess, of capturing family members who are no longer here. Some of that has been wedding related. And I've also had, I've done a lot of homecomings, a lot of very emotional events like that. And I would say those, anything where there's a deep, deep emotion are probably my favorites, because it's not posed, it's not orchestrated, it's real life. And those are generally the ones that my brides and any families that I work with value the most, especially when it's a loved one that has passed away recently.
Who has made the biggest impression on your professional life?
Trying to think here. That's hard. I mean, I've had some really, really good mentors that have, I'd say each of them have done something or affected something different in my life. I would say Abby Keel is a wedding photographer out in Utah. Really was the one that pushed me into weddings. I originally, years ago, told my husband about 10 years ago, I will never, ever shoot weddings. And that came more from a place of fear than anything else. And I tell people now, don't say never, because you will end up doing it.
Really?
Yeah,
That's the truth.
but mentoring with her really kind of pushed me to take that leap of going full time with weddings rather than kind of doing a little bit of everything. And I would say next to that, probably Caitlin James and Mary Morantz. I've had the pleasure of mentoring with both of them, and for different reasons, they both have really impacted some things, including the Restart Specialist. That one,
we're going to get to that too.
Yeah, we're going to get to that.
We're going to do photography first, and then we're going to flip over to your Restart. Okay, so what can other vendors do to help you do your job more effectively?
So I always say, give vendors credit, whether it's in social media or blogging or Instagram. That especially when somebody has gone out of their way to do something, especially with styled shoots, where they've shot something or created a floral design or a cake to the best of your ability. Sometimes Facebook gets wonky and just won't let you tag people. But to the best of your ability, give credit to vendors. If you're inspired by something that you find on Pinterest and you share it, do your best to credit that vendor as best you can. I would say be professional and play nice.
Thank you.
I tend to be pretty blunt when it comes to the business side of things. And I would say I'm seeing a huge trend, and I'm probably going to get some blowback for this, but a big trend of sharing way too much personal and political opinions on your business page.
Thank you.
Keep it off of social media, because you can actually go into a person's page and look at what they've liked, look at what they've commented on, and brides are conscious of that. Some of them do care, and I would hate to lose business because I can't be professional or be nice to other people.
Yeah, I guess it's the trend right now that you say what you want and don't think about the ramifications afterwards. Not everybody has to agree, but we all are in this world together playing the same sandbox.
Yeah.
So I do truly, and that's what Connections for Weddings started as. I wanted it to be an environment that you could say what you wanted, but it had to be nice.
Yeah.
We're not going down that negative road.
Yeah.
So,
somebody once said, you can all play in the sandbox. You should all work to build that sandcastle and stop throwing sand.
Thank you. That's perfect. I'm going to use that from now on, Meredith. I love that. Okay. So when you're not working, what are you doing?
My husband jokes that I was probably born 300 years too late. I like to knit when I have the time.
Oh, that's cute.
I like to sew. Don't get a lot of time to do that right now. I have two little people running around, and so that's not very conducive. We love cooking dinner with friends. That's honestly one of our favorite things that we've done throughout the years is whenever we have people come in and stay at our house and visit us, we will go shopping together at a farmer's market or something and bring it back, and all of us will go into the kitchen and cook together and just kind of have a communal meal, and we really enjoy.
So when did you live in Europe?
When do we live in Europe? It's been a long time since I've been to Europe, but we just kind of have always done that. That's just,
You know, my daughter traveled abroad, and so we went and saw her, and that's how they do it in Europe.
Mhm.
They buy it that day and they cook
Yeah.
it, and it's a family thing.
Yeah.
And so that's why I say, when were you in Europe? So where was your favorite place to live?
in Europe,
And anywhere.
in anywhere. Oh, I would have to say it was a toss up between Alaska. I went to high school in Anchorage.
Oh,
And,
Katie's going to chime in on that one.
yeah. You know, Katie and I have had talks about
I
that.
already talked about this.
Yep. Yeah. I loved the high school up there, loved the atmosphere. Can tell you crazy stories about bears in the parking lot of our high school.
Sounds pretty good.
But, yep. And I would say probably next to that was going through a place called Koblenz, Germany. My family is originally from there, so it was really neat to be able to see that and go through that area knowing that that's where we're from.
And you speak German?
I speak, you saw my Instagram today. So I speak very rusty German. It's very much out of practice. My Spanish is even worse than that. I actually failed my college Spanish class.
Talk to my daughter because she actually majored in Spanish and has a degree, but can't speak it fluently. You know, can write it and understand it, but can't speak it fluently yet. Because it's just practice. It's just practice.
Yeah.
So, if you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go?
Probably Ireland. I'd love to go to Iceland. I keep seeing some really gorgeous imagery coming out of there, and it's so different and so pretty.
Yeah.
And then randomly to Brazil. That's kind of on my bucket list. Yeah, of places to go.
Well, Brazil is a huge place for flowers, so when you go, take me. So let's flip it now.
Okay.
Talk about your other venture.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. You tell me.
Okay. So being a military spouse, we move, like I said, every 3 to 4 years. We're a little more lucky than we have been so far, a little more lucky than some who have to move every year or every 2 years. And imagine as a small business owner that you have to start your business and get a good steady flow of clientele and people referring to you. And then you literally have to pick it up and move it and start all over again every 4 years. And we felt that frustration, but we kind of got propelled to go beyond just this stinks and I don't like it to, okay, how do we fix it? Because I had someone tell me once, well, you'll just be a really good hobbyist because you have to move. And it's really your choice. And I wasn't okay with that. And he said, well, then you could just second shoot. This guy was telling me this. And it really got me fired up instead of just being defeated. And so my husband and I sat down and kind of, we have figured out how can we make this work? Because everyone we've mentored with, as much as I adore and love the people that we've mentored with, they have been very honest and said, we wouldn't know what to do if we moved. Like, I have no idea. The idea that they said would scare them. And so we felt like there are other people out there that are feeling the same way, that are having to move either because their husband's corporate job is making them move, or they are a military spouse, or they're just starting over for the first time. And so we started to create this program, and it hasn't launched yet. We do private mentoring, one-on-one mentoring for small businesses on how to restart your business and move it without being afraid of moving it. We are launching a blog at the end of this month. It's currently kind of been hosted on my wedding blog, which doesn't really fit together. And so we're launching that at the end of this month, and then we hope to, in 2018, launch the actual program. In addition to the one-on-one mentoring, we also have a newsletter that goes out once a month, and we just had our first workshop in January.
Wow, and I had the honor of attending that, and that was just absolutely wonderful. It kind of gives you a kick in the seat a little bit, and let's get on it. Let's get on it.
Yeah.
One thing that you stress is organization, and I love that, and goal.
Yeah.
So that was really, really cool. So I too, like you, I was in the medical industry and had to move because of industry.
Mm-hmm.
You're military, so I relate to everything that you're talking about, getting the license from state to state and things like that. It's a lot for people. So this is a wonderful idea. So they can keep their wits about them as they're going through it.
Yeah, and we just feel a deep desire to get rid of that fear and turn it into a sense of, I get to go to a new location. I get to work with new vendors, and not that I want to, leave the vendors that I've worked with. I love the vendors that I've worked with here in Hampton Roads, but we know eventually down the road, one day we're going to have to do that. Yeah. And so we want people to change their mindset and see it as this exciting thing instead of something that's horrible and terrible. And the system that we've used for the past couple of years, every time we've moved, we've been able to double, not just a little bit, but double our income and get inquiries and bookings before we ever hit our new location.
Wow.
So we want that for other people.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So you're an example of how this truly works.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say, like, being Alaskan, living in Washington, Texas, Virginia, like, my husband is the reason I'm here, and I'm so blessed and grateful to be here. I personally feel like the God that I serve puts me where I'm supposed to be, when I'm supposed to be there, and there's a reason, and there's always a lesson to be learned, but you don't understand until you go on an adventure, even if it's a vacation. I'm not saying you have to uproot your life. What a small pond and what a big fish sometimes you can be. And it's really a humbling opportunity to be able to go see a different part of the world, a different wedding market, a different group of friends. And it's something that keeps you on your toes. So I would highly encourage anyone, go on a vacation, ask people about who they are and what they do, and don't worry about your story, because you already know your story, and learn somebody else, because you have no idea how big the world is until you adventure and tour and do those things. Because I've had my business in Alaska and Texas, and I completely understand a smidge of what you go through.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. One of my favorite things to do is just to kind of look at who the industry people are in different markets. And I actually have a series that's going to launch after the Restart Specialist launches, that is going to talk about different markets and interviewing different vendors in different markets, so that we can see, they're doing different things. They're seeing different trends that either are way ahead of ours or a little bit behind, but it's a neat thing to kind of see.
I totally agree with that, because, I always feel that when you stop learning or stop the willing to learn, you might as well just pack it up.
Yeah.
So I think what you're on is a wonderful track, and I just can't say enough about the workshop that we got to participate in. So when was it that you decided to start this venture with this? Was it one move that just pushed you over to do this, or was it the combination of all these things?
It was probably a combination of several things. We kind of implemented it without knowing it. My husband's a huge problem solver, and that's just kind of his area of, he wants to fix things, and he's kind of dragged me down that path. So we didn't really realize we had a specific system. I had just always kind of learned the hard way over years of moves, and just implemented what had worked in the past and had always been able to grow my business. And we moved here, and I kind of mentioned a gentleman that I spoke with, and I had asked him, he's in the industry, and he's been in the industry for a while. He's not a photographer, but he does work with wedding people. And I said, what would you recommend I do? Because we know we're going to move every 4 years. We know that that's going to happen. And he basically said, you picked this life. You can decide to get out of it. And I went, no, that's not an acceptable answer. That doesn't work for me. And I can't imagine you saying that to somebody who is maybe it's a one-time move. It's a corporate move. And they can't just say, oh,
That's a very brass thing to say to someone.
Yeah. And it hurt initially hearing it from him, and him saying, well, you'll just only be a good second shooter. That's really what you're going to be. And this was my first year full-time as a wedding photographer. And it initially hurt, but driving back from having met with this person, it was more of a, okay, I'm not the only one that feels like this. This is not okay. And this was just over a year ago that this kind of started marinating in my head of, I'm not the only one who goes through this. I'm not the only one that has big dreams and big goals that wants to be successful, even despite our circumstances. And so we looked at what we had done in the past and said, okay, this worked. We looked at our numbers, we looked at our analytics and said, this is something we know how to do. And in talking with other people, other military spouses that we had mentored, either on our private Facebook group or one-on-one, and they said, yeah, we need this. And so we met, or not we, my husband suggested I sit down and meet with Justin and Mary Morantz to not only go over the wedding side of things, but to kind of talk with them about the Restart Specialist. And so in doing that, they're really smart about launching things and just business in general. And out of those kind of multiple steps is where we came with the Restart Specialist.
Wow, that's really an interesting story in itself.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's get this straight so everybody understands. It's not just about the military families. It's
No.
Correct.
I have mentored people who aren't actually moving. They are just starting out their business and have said, I want to be successful. I don't know the steps, the basic things like SEO and certain what to look for if you're going to hire somebody that's an SEO specialist. We've hired 3, and the first 2 had some big red flags that we said, no, that's not going to work. And so just the basics of things like that, of helping somebody really, like you say, a kick in the pants.
Yeah.
It's not probably the best marketing name for it. But,
yeah.
I don't know.
Sometimes you just got to have a little motivation, and fear is a very big deterrent for a lot.
Yep. And that's our tagline, moving your business forward without fear.
Wow. Now that's great. That's great. I love that. So, okay. So let's not go real deep, but what is your first thing that people, when it comes to mind, that people come to you first and foremost for?
And we're still on the Restart Specialist?
Right, Restart.
Okay. First and foremost, it's generally moves. It's generally because that's
right,
primarily what we're marketing. But like I said, we've had people who are just starting out that don't move, that need help, and they primarily say, I am scared to death. I am moving from Kansas to Georgia. I'm currently mentoring a girl that she said, I don't know what to do. I'm about to have a baby. I don't have time to figure this out. I need help. And so we sit down with her one-on-one and kind of walk through what she's doing now and best practices for how to effectively and now I don't get into the legal stuff. I will suggest things.
Yeah.
But I am not a lawyer.
Right.
I will suggest things and send her in the right direction for that.
Well, I think people don't understand too different parts of the country, because I've lived in the Midwest.
Yep.
And I've lived in the East Coast, and I've lived in Florida, which I know is the East Coast, but Florida is a different province in its own.
Yeah.
They do things differently there. So I think that this is a phenomenal way to transition.
Well, and their wedding season is different. That's something people don't think about too, is how do I market to this new location when, like, Florida wedding season, I have a friend down there that he says, I don't have summer weddings. It's too darn hot.
Yeah.
Versus up here, we may have more weddings in the summertime and early fall.
Yeah, and that's very true. Being from Florida, it really, and there's rain every day. Rain every day.
Yep.
Summer. So, and it may be a 5-minute shower, but it's rain every day, and you have to be prepared for things like that. Yeah. I think that's a phenomenal security blanket for people, what you're doing. So I can't commend you enough about that. Now I'm going to flip it a little bit to Connections for Weddings.
Okay.
And why did you become a member of it?
I really liked the fact that y'all don't have a ton of rules. And the ones that you do have make sense.
I like to
Sorry.
You're an adult, and we trust that you'll be an adult, right?
Yes. Yes. We expect you to put your big boy panties on.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Tagline. Put on your big girl panties. or Fruit of the Looms, whatever you choose. But
that's also none of our business.
Yes.
But in saying that, I think that's really true, is that I didn't want to burden down with rules, but I did want positivity. So that was my goal for this group. So how do you think Connections for Weddings help you in any way?
I think it's just created a good group of people supporting each other. I'm really impressed at how supportive everyone seems to be. I haven't seen any of the, what do I do about this horrible, awful bride? I haven't seen any of that negativity, and I hope it stays that way, that it can be a place where we're supporting each other. And I love, one of my favorite things is to see people that are in the same industry, photographer to photographer, floral designer to floral designer, supporting each other and saying, you know what, this isn't a good fit for me because this is not my style. Let me send you to the right person. Let me make it not about the bottom dollar and make it about people. And when you serve people better than you serve yourself, your business will get bigger and grow faster because you're not concerned with just you. You're concerned with the community around you.
How do you feel about style shoots as a photographer? Now I'm really flipping it.
Oh yeah, okay.
How do you feel?
Well, it's funny because we're actually going to talk about that in our private Facebook group coming up. We do every other Monday. We do a private.
Invite everybody to that.
Well, now the problem with that is it's only for people that have mentored with me one-on-one or have been to a workshop.
Okay.
So that's kind of an extra little perk that we give to people for that have
Which is great. So that'll encourage them to come to one of your workshops.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're with style shoots. We're actually talking about that later this month. And my opinion is I love them. I love the creativity. My little art teacher heart just sings when they're done well. And I think the biggest thing that I made a mistake starting out is that I didn't think about it from my brand perspective. I love the style shoots that I've done. I love the vendors that I've worked with, and the people that I've met, and I would not trade that for a moment. I do wish that I had looked at it through the microscope of my brand a little bit better, and been more structured in what I was deciding to do.
Yeah, I understand that completely. I mean, anybody can do a style shoot per se, but you've got to do it right for your business. And you have to keep that in mind as well. So I always tell people that I love doing style shoots. In fact, to me, a dream job would be going from style shoot to style shoot. To me, I could get paid for it. But in saying that, it's got to fit your business, and if it doesn't fit your business, let somebody else do it.
Well, and a secondary kind of filter that I now run it through is not just does it fit my business, but what's the reason for doing this? Because if I have somebody that's we're doing a branding shoot for someone later this week, or not this week, next week, and I'm not going to ask that it be my brand. That's not my, I'm shooting it for her. So why am I doing this? Does this benefit the community I'm in? Does it serve a purpose? Does it serve someone other than myself? And so if I'm the one creating the style shoot, then yes, it needs to be within the purview of my brand. But if I'm doing it because I'm helping someone else, then it needs to serve a bigger purpose.
I totally agree with that. That's a very good point. Okay, so let's wrap it up.
Okay.
And is there anything else you want to add?
Not really. You've asked me a ton of questions.
Do you have a plug for another workshop?
Not yet.
Okay.
Right now, we're just opening up dates. Once the Restart Specialist blog opens, then we'll have specific dates on there. But for now, you can just contact me through my website or through Facebook to set up one-on-one mentoring. And we generally sit down and go through your whole business and fix what the big concerns are. But for now, we're waiting. We have a big announcement coming up in the spring. We can't really share it yet, but it will be a very big announcement.
Well, that's wonderful. I'll sit at the edge of my seat.
Okay.
But I highly encourage everyone, please check out her workshops. Even though we don't have anything coming real soon, but keep an eye on it. Is there a Facebook page that they can go to?
Yes. So the Restart Specialist is the Facebook page for that venture, and then Meredith Ryncarz Photography is the other the page for that. And as soon as the blog launches, I'll definitely put something in the connections for weddings to let y'all know that it's out there and ready to be read.
And you're still accepting brides for 2017, correct?
I am. Right now, September is fully booked, but we do have a couple dates in the summer and a couple in the later fall that we're still open.
That's wonderful. So business is good.
Yes.
So don't let anybody tell you otherwise, right?
Exactly.
Well, it has been a complete pleasure. I took your workshop. I feel it was really, really worth the time, and the effort that you all put into it was unbelievable. You brought in people from all over. So I thank you for that, number one. Number two, thank you for being our first guinea pig on this. We had little technical issues there, but we're good. We're good. And I can't thank you enough. Now, everyone, please share and tell everyone about this. And if you want to sign up, let me know, and contact Meredith if you need anything, any questions that you have. She's there for you, and she can be hired or just be a friend. So thank you again, and you all have a great evening. Meredith, I can't thank you enough.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Annette. Y'all have a wonderful afternoon.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.